Hi, everybody. Well, let me share my screen here with you all. I'm Ebony Travis Tichenor, Director of Global Wellbeing and HR Employee Policies. And today, we're going to explore how we can collectively support women's health and mental well-being, focusing on empowering, engaging, and enhancing our communities. In a world where health disparities persist, it is crucial to focus on the specific needs of women who often face unique challenges in accessing quality healthcare. We are addressing critical challenges at the intersection of women's health and mental health, as well as their mental well-being. Our research reveals some concerning trends. And granted, we know we've made some strides, but there's still plenty of areas for improvement. Wouldn't you agree? Let's look at some concerning statistics. An estimated 264 million people worldwide have an anxiety disorder. Women are nearly twice as likely as men to be diagnosed with an anxiety disorder in their lifetime. And in the past year, we've shown that anxiety disorder was higher for females at 23.4%. Than for males at 14.3%. Moreover, women in the lowest income brackets are 40% more likely to experience depression, yet they receive 60% less treatment. Now, these figures are not just numbers, everyone. They represent real barriers that hinder many women from receiving the care that they need. And additionally, 10.4% of women are grappling with depression. And it's a significant mental health concern, further intensified by hormonal shifts during reproductive events like menstruation and menopause. Look, these hormonal changes can provoke pronounced mood swings, depression, and anxiety, impacting overall well-being and daily functioning. Understanding and addressing these factors, it's so crucial for effective mental health support and treatment. Turning to disparities in mental health service access, the data we researched, it highlights major gaps. In rural areas where nearly 20% of the population lives, only 9% of psychiatrists, for example, and 16% of psychologists practice, therefore underscoring a critical shortage of mental health professionals. And furthermore, uninsured women are much less likely to access services compared to their insured counterparts, 11% versus 35%. Income level also affects access to care. Women in the lowest income bracket experience depression at a rate of 40% higher than those in the highest income bracket, yet they receive 60% less treatment. And pause there for a moment. This data in this research that we've gathered here, it comes from some credible resources that you can see there below. These data points illustrate deep-seated barriers that hinder many women from receiving the necessary care. And again, it underscores the systemic reforms to ensure capable mental health services for all women, irrespective of their location, insurance status, or income level. But by addressing these issues, we actually aim to enhance both the mental and physical health outcomes for women, transforming lives and ensuring a better quality of life. It's not just about improving healthcare. It's about making those lasting changes that benefit everyone. So how can we bridge the gap? What could we be doing? I want to direct your attention to the critical intersection of mental and physical health in women and the barriers that keep many from receiving the care they need. This integration is crucial for comprehension and even more significantly, for actually taking action. I want you to consider Sarah, who lives in a rural area, who actually struggles to find even the basic mental health services. And then there's Emily, a freelancer without stable employment benefits, who cannot afford regular therapy sessions. Those stories are real, and they're more than just data points. They represent real struggles that affect daily lives and futures. Let's recognize that mental health is not separate from physical health. Instead, they're profoundly linked. Stress from work-life imbalance, cultural expectations, and social economic pressures, they don't just strain the mind, it has tangible effects on the body. Chronic stress can lead to heart disease, diabetes, and other serious conditions. Thus, improving women's mental health is not merely about well-being. It's actually about saving lives and enhancing the quality of those lives. And the barriers to this integrated approach to health, they're significant. When we talk about access to healthcare, we're not just referring to the distance one must travel to find a specialist, as noted by Sarah, the rural resident. We're talking about the affordability and the comprehensiveness of care, which Emily, the freelance worker, she points out as a major concern due to the cost of treatment. And let's take some of the insights from earlier and apply them here. Social economic status, for instance, is not just about income. It's about the complexities of life that comes with it. A woman living in poverty may face stigma when seeking mental health services, or might be unable to take time off from work for therapy or medical appointments. And similarly, cultural norms and the push for work-life balance directly influence mental health. And these aren't abstract concepts, but everyday realities that can lead to anxiety and depression, which in turn takes a toll on our physical health. And addressing these requires more than just healthcare reform. It requires change. And moreover, when we discuss social support, limited healthcare, and past trauma, we're actually delving into the psychological barriers that prevent women from seeking or receiving effective treatment. A woman who lacks a support system is going to suffer silently. And without that proper provider training, her struggles, they'll go unrecognized. So in essence, bridging the gap in healthcare means creating systems that are not only physically accessible, but also culturally competent, stigma-free, and financially feasible. It means ensuring that women from all walks of life have the support and resources they need to maintain both their mental and physical health. So as we move forward, let us remember that these are just not individual women's issues. These are societal issues that affect us all. Our collective health and prosperity depend on our ability to support the well-being of every member of our society. And together, we can bridge the gap. We can create a world where mental and physical health are understood as a single intertwined thread in the fabric of women's healthcare. A world where the barriers we've discussed are dismantled for the betterment of all. So we have to continue to have these conversations. But most importantly, we've got to take action. We need to empower, engage, and enhance. We've got to educate women about the importance of mental health, build those supportive communities, and advocate for inclusive policies. Because every single one of us can contribute by supporting local mental health initiatives, promoting workplace well-being, and pushing for healthcare reforms. Because together, we can make holistic health a reality for every woman. Thank you.
That is outstanding. Really appreciate the presentation and would love to take some questions. We've got a few more minutes. So if there's any questions, I've got one question for you, Ebony, just off the top of the list here. And they're wanting to know, what is the future of what you're talking about? What is the future of women's health, particularly when you talk about large employers, employer benefits programs? Where do you see this heading for digital solutions that large employers can sponsor in women's health area?
You know, I see a lot of organizations starting to take action on that. I see them starting to dig deeper, create opportunities to where, policies are changing. They're recognizing the needs of their workforce, most in particular are women. I see organizations starting to leverage the technology, offering more benefits in order to meet people's needs inside and outside of the workplace. I can't sit here and tell you that everyone is on the same path or going down the same road, but I wholeheartedly believe, even like an organization like ours, that we are taking all the right steps to ensure that we are recognizing the importance of women's health.
That's fantastic. And what specific apps have you seen in women's health with large employers really growing in adoption?
Gosh, you know what? I can't tell you off of the top of my head, to be honest with you. At the moment right now, I deal a lot more with like our well-being strategy. So I'm really not down in the benefits, as far as the offerings. But what I can tell you is that, when we think about mental health, for example, we are offering now Spring Health. right? And it's an app where it's not only just an offering where you call someone, etc. They also offer an app where people can take the opportunity to understand where they're at on the spectrum. What support do they need when it comes to their mental health? So I'll use Spring Health as an example that's supporting not just our women, but everyone in our organization. Does that help?
That helps a lot. No, that's really fantastic. And in terms of the community that's listening to this, there's people from all over the world that are listening to this symposium today. What advice would you give the startup community who are trying to reach out to large employers and generate some interest in adoption with large employers and their wellness and healthcare programs?
Yeah, that's a good one because, we tend to get a lot of that. And I think a lot of it is have your business case up front, right? Show us the examples up front of how this is solving for what you're solutioning for, right? What is your product, what is it solving for? Give us the case studies, real world examples, the data behind it. And I think that's the first way to get your foot in the door, right? A lot of times people just come in and say, I have this solution. But when you think about all the emails you get and the phone calls you get, I'm all about give me the information up front. If I start to read it and see it and it interests me, I'm coming in through the door, right? I'm going to go ahead and just invite you in because you've already laid the foundation for us to understand what it is you're trying to, solve for and help us with data, with research, with information, right? So for me, that's what I would suggest is come in strong, no soft, come in ready with the data and the information.
That's right. And the evidence. I mean,
there you go.
HITLAB, we love doing studies. We love generating evidence, and they need evidence to make sure that the buyers and the investors are going to be able to actually believe the story they're telling.
There you go. Exactly.